各位大家好，欢迎收看邓鸿说法节目，我是美国人民律师邓鸿，让我们执法说法据理力争。今天是星期二，当然今天的话，因为晚上有一场活动也要参加的，所以的话我今天提早来跟大家一起看一下子川普在白宫今天召开的这场记者会。当然这个记者会就是因为昨天晚上国会参议院已经以多数票通过了Mullen这个国土安全部部长的任命本来 Christine Norm 会到3月31号，不过的说今天他已经正式出任美国国土安全部部长这个职位当然这个部长的仪式非常隆重，并且也关心到我们这个移民走向，因为国土安全部的部长就是因为 ICE 的行动过于激烈而引致很多民众的批评。穆林上台之后会不会改变移民局的政策呢？川普在这次记者会方面的话做了一些陈述。另外一方面呢，中东这个和谈问题进展怎么样？在记者会里边的话，川普也有一些这个回应我们首先看一下子今天川普在白宫里边举办的这场记者会里边的具体内容，到时候我们再来一起来看来解读这个记者会大概长40多分钟
It's been a long time. Must be something big happening, huh? You all set? Well, thank you very much. It's a great day for me because I have a lot of confidence in this gentleman. And we're thrilled to swear in our new Secretary of Homeland Security, a great American patriot, to put it mildly, Mark Wayne Mullen. And I want to just say, Mark Wayne, congratulations. Great. You deserve it. You're a great man. Let me also thank Secretary Mullen's beautiful family, including his wife, Christy. Thank you. His sons, Jim and Jace and Andrew, and daughters, Lara, Ivy, Lynette, and other members of the Mullen family. It's a beautiful family. You know this guy, he's our big top wrestling guy. I won't wrestle him for anything. An all-American wrestler, huh? Good, you have good genetics in that family. Proud of you. Thanks as well to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Chairman Jason Smith, Congressman Josh Gottheimer, former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy, and many other friends that are gathered with us. It's a great group of people. For 13 years, Mark Wayne has represented the incredible state of Oklahoma, a state that I won 77 out of 77 counties 3 times in a row. So they like me there. Second was Ronald Reagan at 56. Did you know that? 56. That's not bad. But 77, it's 77 out of 77, I think, right? That's not bad. But he was there in Congress as a member of the House and then as an outstanding United States Senator. And he really has been outstanding. He's been a close and vital partner in helping us secure the border, stop migrant crime, end the scourge of illegal drugs, and make America safe again and make America great again. And he's a tremendous player. He worked with Tom Homan, worked with all of our people on the right, and many more. And everything he's done has been good. I say everything he touched, he's turned to gold. Now, but even in business, he was successful, in all fairness. And he was successful. And he said, I want to go into politics. I hope you're happy. But as the only Native American, I didn't know that, huh? Let me look at you. Well, I think that's all right. He's got great quality, I can tell you. He's the only Native American in the Senate. How many have been there before you? Do you know? Native American? I think 3. Well, you're a fantastic representative. Mark Wayne has also been a fantastic advocate for our cherished tribal communities. He's now the first member of the Cherokee Nation ever to serve as a member of the cabinet. I didn't know all these things. I would have picked him faster if I had known. I would have made a quicker decision. Prior to his career in public service, Mark Wayne had a very successful career in business, leaving school at age 20 after his father got sick, taking over his family business and turning it into a multi-million-dollar success story. He's a very successful guy. Mark Wayne has also a career as an MMA fighter. That's why I looked at his ears and I said, I'm not going to fight with him. You can tell a lot about a person by their ears, right? During which he went totally undefeated. He was undefeated during his career, and he's been inducted into the Oklahoma Wrestling Hall of Fame. And the family is made of fantastic wrestlers, especially that guy right there. That's my favorite guy, huh? And suffered bad injury and come back stronger than ever, I think. So good to have you, Ben, right? I have no doubt that as he takes the helm of DHS, Mark Wayne will fight for Homeland Security, the United States, and securing the country and making it really strong and the way it should be. Our country's come a long way in the last year. We set it up so beautifully, and then we had 4 years of horror. We had 4 years of disgusting horror, open borders, and things that nobody would even think of. You wouldn't even think of. 25 million people poured into our country, and we've gotten a lot of them out, but we have a lot more to go. We have 11,888 murderers came into our country. People came in from all over the world, from prisons and gangs, gang members, drug dealers, people from mental institutions, insane asylums. That's the mental institution times 2. And what they allowed to happen to our country can never be allowed to happen again, and it won't. With Mark Wayne, we have somebody that's strong, professional, and fair. As you know, the department that Mark Wayne takes over today is currently shut down by radical left Democrat thugs in Congress who have blocked all funding for DHS because they're trying to shield illegal alien criminals, gang members. They want to protect them from being taken out of the country, drug dealers, murderers. They're protecting them all. I don't know how people can vote for these people. You know, I see the midterms are close. I don't know what close means, but I don't know how people can vote for them. You take a look, men, they want men to be able to play in women's sports. They want transgender for everybody. Terrible, but that's the way it is. They don't want to give voter ID. They don't want voter ID for elections. They don't want proof of citizenship for elections. And then they get to vote. They do cheat, but I don't know. It's hard to believe they can cheat that much. Just in the past few days, we've seen the horrifying consequences of Democrats' deadly open border extremism. They want open borders, and they want to open the borders again if they have their chance, because they think they're going to get votes by doing that. On Thursday, a precious 18-year-old college student named Sheridan Gorman was shot and killed while she was walking in a park. She was just walking in the park, didn't do anything. The illegal alien monster charged with Sheridan's brutal murder had come illegally from Venezuela and been released into our country by Sleepy Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. And I don't say that because I think he's fine. He's okay. I don't like him, dislike him. I talk about job performance. That's all I care about, job performance. Worst president in history. And Obama wasn't far behind, by the way. But he was then arrested and released again by Democrat governor, a real slob of a governor, J.B. Pritzker, in the sanctuary city of Chicago, which we could make safe in 2 months, I would say. 2 months if we sent in the group, Tom, right? 2 months would be good. 3 months, very good. 4 or 5 months, it would be great. But they would never call because they don't want to do that. All they have to do is call and ask for a little help. The Democrats in Congress do not care how much American blood they shed in their demented pursuit of open borders. From Sheridan Gorman to Jocelyn Nungary and Laken Riley, their quest to flood our country with illegal aliens has left countless American victims in its wake. They never changed. They see what's happening. They never change. That's what they want. They want to get the votes. With sanctuary and sanctuary cities going at levels that they are, and we've ended a lot. We've done a lot. But for some reason, they love it. It's a sanctuary. You know, sanctuary cities are it's really a sanctuary for criminals. With Secretary Mullen at DHS, we will continue our record-setting efforts to deport these illegal alien criminals from our country, and we are doing at record levels despite a very unfair court system, a radicalized left court system, and others that I'm not too fond of also. And we'll protect innocent American lives. Every single illegal migrant who has a criminal record must be deported immediately. If they have a criminal record, you got to deport them. And there's a lot that came in under Biden. And Kamala, the great border czar Kamala, who never went to the border, never called Border Patrol, never once called Border Patrol. Can you imagine that, Jim? She's the border czar. She never called Border Patrol. Explain that to me. He's the worst. She was as bad as he was. Going to give him IQ tests next week. Under the Trump administration, we've achieved unprecedented gains on public safety. Yesterday, we were in Memphis, Tennessee, to celebrate the steepest reduction in crime ever recorded. We've been there for about 5 months, and the numbers, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And thanks to our Memphis Safe Task, it's called Safe Task Force, alongside our efforts in Washington, D.C. And what we've done in Washington is amazing. We have Washington as a safe city now. It's been amazing. It's been, if you go back a year and a half, 2 years ago, Washington was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, let alone this country. And now we have a very safe city. And what they've done with all of the people working, many of the people standing right there, it's been incredible. And now we're going to see all of our cities take a big step because of Mark Wayne. In 1 year, my administration, we've created the most secure border in the United States history and the largest drop in illegal immigration ever recorded, slashed the illegal fentanyl crossings on our border by 64%, and accomplished the largest decline in the murder rate in the history of our country, bringing it down to 1,900. That's before my father was born. My father was born a little bit after that. He wouldn't be happy mentioning this because he never liked talking about age. but he lived to be a ripe old age. But that's before my father was born. Think of it, 1900, we have a record, 1900. Murders last year were at the lowest level in 125 years, and we're making America safe again. We're doing it at levels that everything we're doing, we're making great. The border is great. The military is great. We're having, by the way, a tremendous success, as you know, in Iran. We had one in Venezuela, and now we're having one in Iran. They have no Navy left. They have no Air Force left. They have no anti-aircraft equipment left, no radar left, no leaders left. The leaders are all gone. Nobody knows who to talk to. But we're actually talking to the right people, and they want to make a deal so badly. You have no idea how badly they want to make a deal. And we'll see what happens. I want to thank Pete Hegseth. The job you're doing over there is really incredible. You and the general and all of the other generals and colonels and captains and majors and everybody else, right? It's a perfect, amazing thing. We make the best military equipment in the world. Now we're going to make it faster. We want to get it faster, but we make the best in the world. We're doing a job. So I'd like to ask Attorney General Bondi to come and do the honors of swearing in a man who's going to do a phenomenal job for our country. And I tell you, your family has to be very proud. You have to be very proud. Everybody wanted this job. He said, there's one man for this job, and I have no doubt he's going to be fantastic. Thank you, Pam. Come on over. Thank you.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear,
I do solemnly swear,
Mark Wayne Mullen,
Mark Wayne Mullen,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith to allegiance and do the same.
and that I take this obligation freely,
I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of
or
evasion,
purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter.
which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Secretary.
Hey.
Thank you. I think that was the most nervous I've ever been. It just seems surreal being in the Oval Office and having the President of the United States speak so highly of me and then recognize my family and know my family by name. It's humbling, and I never take it for granted, but I've made this very clear that I don't care what color your state is. I don't care if you're red or you're blue. At the end of the day, my job is to be Secretary of Homeland and to protect everybody the same, and we will do that. I'll fight every single day. Today, I got the privilege of meeting so many of the employees at DHS. These employees have been there for 30 days without pay. And if you need anything to know their dedication to show up and still protect the homeland that you and I enjoy and the freedoms that we're experiencing, they're working with for free because of political politics. That's all I need to know. I told them, as you're fighting 365 days, understand I'll be fighting 365 days beside you. No one's going to outwork me, and I'm not going to let any of them outwork me. The president has entrusted me with this, and failure is not an option. And so thank you so much, Mr. President, for this opportunity. I won't let you down.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I love that expression. No one's going to outwork me. That's a wrestler's expression, isn't it? Huh? That's a good wrestler's expression. Yes, please.
Mr. President, will the Secretary's replacement in the Senate support the SAVE Act and the use of the talking filibuster to get it through?
Well, it's not the SAVE Act. It's not called this. It's called the Save America Act. There's a big difference because the SAVE Act, nobody knows what that means. Save America means Save America. And I can't speak for him, but I would imagine that Mark Wayne, I didn't even ask him the question because who wouldn't support it? Voter ID with a picture. You want citizenship, proof of citizenship. Ideally, you want to end mail-in ballots because there's tremendous corruption. Then we added a couple of things, Mark Wayne, like I don't think being a great athlete and having a family of great athletes, they have produced great athletes in this family, all American wrestlers. They especially like wrestling, by the way. And what about baseball? Do you play baseball? Anything? They like wrestling. But I don't think that you would say that his family, and I don't know this for a fact, and I shouldn't say it because I could get myself. Does anybody in your family want men to play in women's sports? I don't think so, Jim, right? I don't think so. I don't think. How would they do? Would they do good wrestling? They would be in trouble? He said, yes, they'd be in big trouble. It's so crazy. So that would be one. And then we have a few others that we call them the best of Trump. But if you look at transgender mutilization of children, we don't want that. It's the mutilization of children. We don't want that. So generally speaking, I think I can answer that Mark Wayne would be very much in favor of what I'm in favor of. Would you say that's right, Mark? I can't think of too many things. He might be worse. He might be worse than me. That's my look at his wife is saying. That's right. But so yeah, he's going to be great. Yeah.
Do you believe the secretary will run DHS any differently than Kristi Noem did? What do you hope to see as his priorities?
Well, we had a good run. Look, we created the strongest border with the help of that man right there. Tom is so incredible. He's going to be a big influence here too. There's nobody more professional, nobody better. There's nobody better as a human being. You know, he looks tough, but he's got a good heart, but not too good. Don't make it too good. But you know, we had Tom. We have the safest border we've ever had. We have a lot of assets, but a lot of things we can do, and we're going to do. We have to get criminals out of our country that were allowed in by Biden. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, do you support what appears to be emerging agreement coming out of the Senate to reopen DHS?
Well, I'm going to look at it, and we're going to take a good hard look at it. I want to support Republicans, and you know, sometimes it's awfully hard to get votes when you have Democrats that don't want to have voter ID. They don't want to have proof of citizenship. They don't want to do anything about men playing in women's sports. That's one of the items we put on, you know. And I did that just because it's so popular. You know, they say that's at least an 80-20 issue. No, it's about a 99-1. I don't think it's, what do you think, Pete? Do you think it's 80-20? Who's closer, 80-20 or 99-1?
Almost 100.
Yeah, I think 100 is really the, so, you know, so I support that, and I support common sense.
Would you be comfortable with a deal that involves separating ICE funding from the DHS funding package in order to reopen?
Well, they're working on all of that. You know, that's a detail that they'll explain later. Please.
Integrity and DHS measures. Mr. President, since CISA falls under DHS, and given that many credible voices have raised concerns over its premature and possibly likely faulty 2020 election assessment, will you and Secretary Mullen implement reforms at CISA and at DHS to ensure full confidence in future elections? Like in the upcoming.
About it, we'll talk about it. You know, pros and cons. Look, they used it to try and put me in prison, right? So I can't be thrilled with it. They use that very strongly, very illegally. The Democrats are thugs, and I don't want to say that. It would be nice to everyone get along, but it's a different country than it was years ago. It was very dangerous the way they used it, and they weaponized government. They used that to weaponize government. So I'm not thrilled, but I'll also go along with two groups of people: the military, and I think the military likes it, right? And I'll go along with the senators. I'm fine, but I was a big victim of it. Yeah, please.
Are you going to send Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff to do direct negotiations with the Iranians?
Yeah, well, we're in negotiations as it turned out, and now you've seen. What I said yesterday was exactly correct. We're in negotiations right now. They're doing it along with Marco, JD. We have a number of people doing it. And the other side, I can tell you, they'd like to make a deal. And who wouldn't if you were there? Look, their Navy's gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their communications are gone. That's the biggest problem. It's very hard to communicate them between themselves. All of the anti-aircraft is gone. Most of their missiles are gone. We either shot them or they shot them and don't have them anymore. They're down to a trickle. They're pretty much everything they have is gone. I don't know. Can you name one thing that's not gone, or can you name one thing that's doing well? You know, if you read the papers, you think we're tied. You think we're in a tough battle. We are roaming free over Tehran, the city, Tehran, as opposed to Iran. We're roaming free. We can do whatever we want. And as you know, today we were going to have the privilege of shooting down a very big electric generation plant, one of the biggest in the world. And one shot to the right location ends the plant, it collapses. And we held off based on the fact that we're negotiating. You know,
What was the turning point to make you want to pursue a ceasefire? A few days ago, you said you wanted to continue bombing Iran. Now you want to pursue peace talks. Was there something
the
that
fact
happened?
that they're talking to us and they're talking sense. And remember, it all starts with they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Just, you know, I said yesterday, they said, what are the top 10? I said, well, number 1, 2, and 3 is they can't have a nuclear weapon. And they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And we're talking about that. And I don't want to say in advance, but they've agreed they will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that.
How do you ensure they won't have a
Bovino,
nuclear
your
weapon?
former Border Patrol chief, Greg Bovino, said his only regret is that he didn't catch more illegal aliens. What's your reaction to that?
Who said that?
That's your former Border Patrol chief. He just retired.
Well, I mean, we captured a lot. You know, they were allowed into the country by Sleepy Joe and that group of incompetent people that were, he was the worst president ever, the group of incompetent people. To me, that's the biggest scar. You know, inflation, they caused the highest inflation we've ever had. We've already gotten rid of it. The biggest scar is what they did, the people that they allowed from prisons all over the world. They came from the Congo, from all over South America. Rough people, really tough people. So, no, I understand what he means. He says, you know, would have liked to have captured more. I'm not capturing so much as removing. You know, we're removing thousands of people. And many are self-deporting because we're going after them so powerfully that they're self-deporting, Tom, going back. I think that's one of the big unkept secrets. We have thousands and thousands of people, and they're self-deporting. They're going back to where they came from. But what we want really is the criminals. We're really focused on those criminals, getting them out. Yeah.
What's your message right now to Democrats and also to Americans that are stuck in airports? Is really devastating watching it online because Democrats won't fund DHS.
What's devastating?
Americans right now stuck in airports as we speak because Democrats won't.
Well, they just don't. They won't. Look, this is a deal that was done in the Great Big Beautiful Deal, which gave you the biggest tax cuts ever, including no tax on tips and no tax on Social Security for the seniors. Think of it: no tax on overtime, tax deductions when you buy a car. You take money, pay interest on the money, you deduct it. We've never had that for people buying cars, if it's an American car, only if it's an American car. But they are just they stick together, the Democrats. I tell you, I give them great credit for that. We have some that they're not good stickers. We have guys like Tom Massey in Congress, who's terrible. He's just terrible person. I call him Rand Paul Jr., but they don't vote. Rand Paul, I mean, rarely votes for stuff. Likes me, says I'm a great president. He said the other day, I'm a great president, one of the greatest presidents. But I said, do me a favor, vote for us and don't call me a great. I'd rather have the vote than the statement. But we have people that don't stick together, and those people hopefully will someday be gone. The thing I most respect about the Democrats, even on horrible policy, they stick together. What they do have, though, is horrible policy. Transgender for everyone, open borders, men and women's sports. They have the worst policy that you can imagine. And so whether they stick together or not, I mean, they have just this terrible policy. We have great policy. Republicans have great policy. We have common sense policy, but it's great policy. That's our biggest advantage, is our policy is correct. Yeah, please.
President, are you encouraging our allies in the Gulf to be more involved in the Iran operation?
Say it.
Are you encouraging our allies in the Gulf to be more involved in the Iran operation?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, but more NATO. I think our Gulf allies have been pretty good, to be honest with you. UAE's been hit so hard. He got hit by 1,400 rockets, shot them all out of the air with our great Patriot missiles. Think of it, they shot 100 missiles at one of our aircraft carriers, the Abraham Lincoln, one of the biggest ships in the world, actually. And out of 101 missiles shot, every single one of them was knocked down in the sea. Think of that. Think of what that means. 101 missiles, highly sophisticated, very fast missiles shot. Out of 101, all 101 were shot down, and now, for the most part, lie at the bottom of the sea. And pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing. Our military is amazing, Pete. You know the attack I'm talking about recently? 101 shot. I said, wow. I saw that. You can see we have sort of pretty good equipment that we see. It's called the red line. Those red lines were thick, right? I said, that's a lot. And then we saw them one by one just get shot. And these guys that do the shooting, the coolest cucumbers ever. You know, most people, you don't have a lot of time. When a missile's going at 2,500 miles an hour, I don't care how far away it is, you don't have a lot of time. But I watched them sit down and think. Great students, MITs, a lot of MITs, a lot of guys like this, and not as much into the muscle as they are this one right here. And amazing, just watch them perform under great pressure, because they have a matter of seconds to do it. If they don't do it properly, it's a big problem, you know, because these were powerful. These were very powerful missiles coming. And so a lot of people choke. They don't choke. These guys don't choke. They're the best in the world. We have the best in the world. Yeah.
Mr. President, what would be your message today to the TSA agents who have been staying home in recent days amid this impasse?
Well, some of them are needing money, you know, because the Democrats cut off their money. I blame the Democrats more than anything else. But some of them, you know, they didn't get paid because they're not funded by the Democrats. This is a Democrat problem. In fact, I actually said to the Senate, why would you say this is a Democrat problem? I think the polls are showing it's a Democrat problem. And they'll do anything actually to hurt our country so they can try and win the midterms. And if we ever went back to our old policies, we wouldn't have a country left.
If they get a deal, Republicans and Democrats in the Senate, to fund all but enforcement operations of ICE, to get those TSA agents repaid and open up the rest of the department, would you sign that?
Well, I don't want to comment until I see the deal. But as you know, they're negotiating a deal. I guess they're getting fairly close. But I think any deal they make, I'm pretty much not happy with it. These guys came in, they wouldn't pay people. You know, they had a deal to pay. They had to break their deal. The Democrats broke the deal that we had. It was all done. Everything was fine. And then they just said, well, we're not going to pay anymore. And they hurt our country. And at a very difficult time, because, you know, we are at, as they would say, a war. They call it a war. I call it a military operation. a very successful one, successful like nobody's ever seen before. Hey, Venezuela was equally as successful. That was a great thing. No, the Democrats had a deal. It was a done deal. And then they said, well, we're not going to pay. And so a lot of people suffered over that and put our country in danger. You have another question? You haven't been here in a while.
Well, Iran, can you give us any more sense of who exactly in Iran it is, either what about Bush or others you're speaking with?
Yeah, I hate to say this in front of these young people. They're not children. I spoke to most of them. They sound like adults to me, even though they are sort of children, right? They'll always be your children. But I hate to say it, but we killed all their leadership. And then they met to choose new leaders, and we killed all of them. And now we have a new group, and we can easily do that. But let's see how they turn out. We have really regime change. This is a change in the regime because the leaders are all very different than the ones that we started off with that created all those problems. So I think we can say, Jason, this is regime change, right?
What makes you trust them?
I don't trust anybody. I don't trust you. I mean, that's only because I know you. But if I didn't know you, I'd probably have more trust. But I don't trust anyone. Why do you say that? Why do you say what makes you trust? Do you think I trust them? I don't trust them.
Then why bother talking to them?
Because they're going to make a deal. They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people.
Is that nuclear related?
No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related. And it was a very nice thing they did. But what it showed me is that we're dealing with the right people. Because, you don't know, because the leadership was killed, all gone. Khomeini, all gone, as the expression goes, the past supreme leader. And then the new supreme leader was racked up, at a minimum, racked up pretty good. And everyone else was gone. And then many of the people in the third tier are gone. But we're dealing with a group of people that I think turn out. And the present, the gift they made to us was very significant. And they said they were going to do it, and it happened. And they're the only ones that could have done it. Jennifer?
Was it related to the Strait of Hormuz and the flow of?
Yeah, it was related to the flow and to the Strait, yeah. It was.
Are you negotiating on who's going to control the Strait from now on?
No, we'll have control of anything we want. Look, if we can end this without more lives being down, without knocking out $10 billion electric plants that are brand new and the apple of their eye, I'd like to be able to do that, But they can't have certain things. I mean, you know the things. I don't have to go over the list, but again, it starts with no nuclear weapons, and they've agreed to that. There won't be any nuclear weapons. They're not going to have, and they're not going to have enrichment, any of those things. But look, I hate to say that we're in a very good bargaining position, and I hate to say that they're defenseless because, until that last missile is fired, they have little power. But we are in about the best bargaining position. We're way ahead of schedule. And again, they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no missile protection, and most of their missiles are gone. Most of their launches we've killed. We've killed about 82% of their launchers. So even if they had a missile, they can't launch it. We've been very fast. We have the greatest military in the world. Nobody even comes close. We have the best military equipment in the world. Go ahead.
On Saudi Arabia, there's been some reporting that you've been talking to the Crown Prince. Have you been focused on normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel?
Well, no, we have a great relationship with Saudi Arabia. What do you hear with Saudi Arabia?
Talking, and that he has been encouraging you to do certain things related to Iran. Can you share?
Well, he's a warrior. He does. Yeah, he's a warrior. He's fighting with us, by the way. Saudi Arabia has been excellent, and UAE, excellent. And I will tell you, Qatar, incredible. Qatar took a hit, pretty bad hit. Qatar is very close. They're essentially, you can walk right over the border. Qatar took a hit. They've been great. They've been very strong. Kuwait, they had a little mishap. They shot down 3 planes with our missiles. They happen to be our planes, but the pilots made it. Can you imagine the pilots making it? The pilots are always coming. And they said, those are patriots. We're not going to escape patriots. And they got out of there pretty quick, Pete, right? Pretty amazing that they got out. The 3 pilots lived. They're fine. In fact, they're flying today.
Was the Kuwaitis accidentally fired missiles?
Yeah, the Kuwaitis made a mistake. They fired. They thought they were firing at the enemy. It was, as the expression goes, friendly fire. But the pilots are great. They're flying today. Pretty amazing when you think of it. Yeah.
President Trump, on a human level, how hopeful are you that this peace deal will work out? Like as a human,
what?
On a human level, not as the president of the United States. How hopeful are you that this peace deal will work out with Iran?
You're talking about to end it? Well, I think we're going to end it. I can't tell you for sure. You know, I don't like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no nothing. And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country. They can't do a thing about it. For instance, if I want to take down that power plant, that very big, powerful power plant, they can't do a thing about it. It's like, take me. That's all they can do. And yet, if you read the New York Times or if you watch ABC fake news or NBC fake news, you'd say it's a close battle. It's not a close battle. They're totally defeated. You know, we killed their Navy in, would you say 3 days, Pete? Gone. In fact, I was a little upset with Pete. I said, why didn't you save the ships? We could have used them, right? He said, it's more fun shooting them down. But the Navy was wiped out in a very rapid order. Pretty impressive for you guys, you champion wrestlers, right? When you hear this stuff. But you don't, if you read the news, you don't hear this. You know, you read like, oh, they're doing wonderfully. They're doing terribly. They're wiped out militarily. They are dead. Yeah.
Are you afraid? Is there a new sense of a timeline? Do you want to get something done before the midterms?
Well, we'd like to see President Putin and President Zelensky sit down and make a deal. I think they're getting close, but I've been saying that for a while. I've settled 8 wars. All of them should have been more difficult than this one. This should have been the easiest one. But these are 2 people that truly hate each other. You'll find out that hatred is not good for making deals. These are people that they don't like each other very much. Yeah.
I know you said there's a bunch of people from the administration who are negotiating with Iran. There's been reports that the vice president is leading those negotiations. Is that true?
Well, he's involved in them. JD is involved, and Marco's involved, and Jared Kushner's involved, very smart guy, and Steve Witkoff, smart guy, is involved. And I'm involved. I'm involved. Why? I'm going to be so big. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I'm the president of the United States, Tom, and I'm not going to talk about it. It's beneath me to talk about saving millions of lives, because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about saving millions of lives. If Iran had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it. And if I didn't end the horrible Barack Hussein Obama Iran nuclear deal in my first administration, they would have had a nuclear weapon 3 or 4 years ago. They would have used it. I would have never gotten the chance probably to be president. Who knows if what it would have been so devastating. And if we didn't send those beautiful B-2 bombers, they took them off my desk. They were right there. I don't know why, but if we didn't have those beautiful, the B-2 hit, which was, so we obliterated, despite CNN. CNN said, well, maybe the word obliteration. Said, no, we obliterated it, just obliterated their nuclear potential. You would have had them having 2 weeks after that attack, had we not made the attack, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have absolutely used it. And they would have used it on the entire Middle East, including Israel. And you know why you see that? Because unexpectedly, when this war broke out, unexpectedly, they started sending missiles to UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, and elsewhere. And nobody thought they were going to. Were you equally surprised by that, Pete?
Way more than we thought.
Pete, do you want to give about a 3-minute statement on how we're doing in this, as I call it, military operation? People don't like me using the word war, but so I won't. But the Democrats call it a war. How about a little statement? I think he's done a very good job. Do we agree he's done a good job, Mark White? Can we take some of your time?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. You're spot on. Never in history has a modern military, Iran had a modern military, a modern Navy, a modern Air Force, modern air defenses, leadership, massive bunker. Never has a modern military been so rapidly and historically obliterated, defeated from day one with overwhelming firepower. The air campaign that we've conducted, that Israel's conducted alongside us, was one for the history books, truly. And it's because we have a president of the United States that when he sends his warfighters out to fight, he unties their hands to actually go out and close with and destroy the enemy as viciously as possible from moment one. And that's why we see ourselves as part of this negotiation as well. We negotiate with bombs. You have a choice as we loiter over the top of Tehran, as the president talked about your future. The president has made it clear that you will not have a nuclear weapon. The War Department agrees. Our job is to ensure that. And so we're keeping our hand on that throttle as long as hard as is necessary to ensure the interests of the United States of America are achieved on that battlefield. This is not Iraq and Afghanistan. This is not a president who's interested in vague end states. He's been very clear with us about what we need to accomplish, creating the conditions for them never to have a nuclear capability. And that's exactly what we're doing in historic fashion. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, the only 2 people that were quite disappointed, I don't want to say this, but I have to. I said, Pete and General Raisin Kane, I think this thing's going to be settled very soon. Here they go. Oh, that's too bad. Pete didn't want it to be settled. It's these guys are doing a great job. That's a good attitude, though, Tom, right? They were not interested in settlement. They were interested in just winning this thing. Yeah, please.
Can you, taking things locally, hopefully not doing international affairs for a second, do you support the construction of the Second Avenue subway in New York City and will your administration?
Wow, absolutely. Far out, right? You know, the Second Avenue subway has been under construction for, you're a young guy, is longer than you are old, okay? That's been under construction. I haven't heard about the Second Avenue subway in 20 years. What the hell kind of a question is that? I guess they got to get it finished. They spent trillions of dollars practically. No, they spent more money on that than on anything, I think, in the history of our city, in New York City. And it's been under construction for a long time. It's very sad, actually. The only thing maybe worse was Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, his train. I call it his train wreck because it's a wreck. That's been years. It's literally 30 times over budget. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And it doesn't go to San Francisco and Los Angeles like it was supposed to. They decided to cut it way short because there was no way they could finish it. But it's one of the worst. I've never seen anything like it. Other than the worst, the Federal Reserve building for almost $4 billion, little building that's going to cost a renovation for $4 billion, headed by our highly incompetent head of the Federal Reserve. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, would you be open, are you hoping to see the Senate pursue reconciliation 2.0 to fund ICE and pass the Save America
Well,
Act?
we'll see about reconciliation. We're certainly talking about reconciliation, I think, Mark Wayne, right? You want to talk about that for a second? Now that he's working, we can get him to do this.
Thank you. Lindsey Graham, the chairman where the reconciliation will funnel through, he is committed to making sure we get reconciliation through. If that is in some form with funding ICE, possibly backfilling from the One Big Beautiful Bill, but also more importantly, the Save American Act. There's a framework that we can do through reconciliation, paying for it, put some of the policies that cost money in, because there's nothing more important than the Save American Act. I mean, that's what the American people want. There's 80% of the population say they want only Americans voting, citizens that are registered to vote, citizens that have done it the right way. And I believe that everybody wants an election integrity. So fortunately, Lindsey Graham has said through reconciliation, he's willing to put the framework out for that.
And I think that was said so beautifully, so concisely, so well, your father, that we should let him have the last word, and that was it. That was the last word. Did he do a good job? Are you impressed with your father?
Anybody in my life.
How about me? Don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer. No, you like your father better. Okay. Come here. Look at this guy. Come here. This guy, don't wrestle him. We'll steal over here. All right. I want to thank the family because without the family, he's not here. You know, he's a different person. And that goes especially for Mom, who looks like she's about 22 years old. I don't know. I see these kids, but she looks very young. But it's a great couple. Congratulations to you both. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thanks.
当然哈，这个是川普的记者会。在记者会里边的话，这个川普这个将Jim 这个Mullen 的儿子。也是在这个受伤之后，川普一直打电话来鼓励他的，因为川普的英雄，在他眼里边的话，他是个英雄。当时因为这个摔跤，因为他是一个摔跤这个选手，然后受伤了之后，他一直没办法恢复记忆力。在2020年那时候选举的时候，最关键的时候，川普亲自帮他忙，然后一直保持非常好的关系，然后帮助他恢复了这个记忆力。所以后来最后一个句话的话，再请 Jim 来出来了。这个是所以在 Mullen 听证会的时候，这个 Mullen 是含着眼泪讲了这个动人的故事，就是川普怎么样子帮他这个将儿子恢复了。那当然这个记者会里边，川普强调了几点，然后这个一方面他称赞 Mullen 是一个第一位他的这个在美国有史以来第一位是印第安这个他的内阁官员，然后当然他讲了他的历史背景，讲了他是怎么样子这个替在这个原住民争权益，并且的话他是怎么样子从一个20岁他父亲去世，他接班，然后将这个生意跟他一样的话，这个成为一个这个上百万的百万富翁，以后后来从政。 然后同时当然他强调一点的话就是这个记者也问到Kristi Noem 上台了之后Kristi Noem 去这个木兰接替 Kristi Noem， 将来国土安全部的政策有没有改变？所以川普他讲了，然后他说另外一个这个帮我们维护边境安全的这个 Tom Homeland 在这边肯定了 Tom Homeland 的 approach。之前我们也讲过Tom Homeland 跟 Kristi Noem 是两派这个 Tom Homeland 是移民局这个职业这个出身的他在从边界巡逻到这个后来做了移民局的局长，然后后来的边界沙王他是非常专业，30多年下来，然后他是以这个驱逐犯罪的非法移民优先。那当然 Kristi Noem 是在 Stephen Miller 的支持之下，他用所谓镇山打虎，然后这个这种做法大规模的驱逐，然后迫使很多非法移民在美国没办法这个安心的居住，然后主动离境当然 Kristi Noem 他现在离开，然后今天川普这个在他出席记者会里边没有看到 Stephen Miller而是看到 Tom Homeland 出来，所以可以看得出这个川普还是强调一点的话，他说肯定了边界安全这个已经安全了。另外一方面的话他也强调我们会优先驱逐这个非法移民犯罪的非法移民。所以这个部分的话可以看得出来将来尤其是今年的中期选举这个穆林上台的这部分他有可能推动的话，就是 Tom Homeland 的政策就是优先处理这个有犯罪的这个非法移民或者是非美国公民人士。所以这个部分里边的话这个 Tom Homeland 已经是表示他会来推动。当然在里边的话再度谈到了一个很重要一点的话，就是Safe American Act。Safe American Act 的话，当然 Mullen 上台的时候，他现在一直也是在国会参议院里边担任议员的，所以 Tom Homeland 这个当然川普让 Mullen 上台的话来解释该怎么推动这个几个方案。这个方案里边的话，就是现在这个综合一起来推动的。之前我们也介绍过John Kennedy 这个讲话非常幽默的这个路易斯安那州的参议员，他就在辩论会上面说，那为什么我们没有想到的话，这个我们现在又不要改变游戏规则，否则的话60票将来民主党上台了之后如果是降为51票，那我们共和党没有任何的阻力，以后他们要扩充法院要通过各种法案的话，我们没办法阻挡，所以不要动这个规则。然后你现在的话透过这个filibuster延长的通过里边的话这个就像川普总统所讲的你不得不佩服民主党，他们的政策那么糟糕，但是民主党的话他们是非常团结的，然后你要争取到6名民主党人士跨党支持的话非常困难。所以他 John Kennedy 他当时说，我们议会里边有那么多的都是律师出来的，我们外面有那么多保守派的律师都愿意帮忙，为什么我们不用这个每年一次这个预算案呢这种的话叫做综合预算案。大而美的方案也是用这个综合预算案的通过的每年只有一次，以后这个综合预算案的话只需要51票，所以共和党完全可以推动了。所以在这次记者会里边的话，你可以看得出从莫兰口里边他已经是这个正式成为国土安全部的部长，但是他已经是说这个 Lindsey Graham 也是一位资深的共和党领袖，要透过综合预算案的方法，以后将这个将所有的这些预算包装成统一的成为一个预算案。这个综合预算案里边包括现在这个国防部申请的这个200 billion 2000亿的国防军预算，还有这个美国的 FISA 的话就是情报这个经费，这2个的话，民主党也会支持的，因为谁敢反对的话，给军方提供这个预算呢？还有现在大家都是原声载道的，就是这个 TSA 的经费。这3个经费的话，大家都希望能够通过。那拯救美国法案打上来，综合在一起，这个就是共和党要推动的，不需要民主党的支持，然后通过这个预算案的方法，就像大而美的预算案，每年只有1次，这次的话将3个大家民主党也没办法反对的，然后将这个大而美将这个拯救美国法案里边的5大内容，要查选民是美国的公民身份，要这个查身份才能够投票，禁止通讯投票，还有禁止这个男性在女性运动里边进行比赛，还有的话禁止这个未经家长的同意让小孩子做变性手术。所以这个部分川普说这个部分的话，很多人认为是80-50，也是说80%人支持，20%，他说这种是 common sense 的话，应该是99:1，99%的人会支持的。所以他可以看得出，现在的话记者会里边也是呈现出来，川普政府要推动的话，这是综合预算案，用这个方法来闯关，以后将现在所推动的拯救美国法案的话进行闯关。那当然川普也叫了 Pete Hegseth这个国防部部长来的，所以他说 Pete Hegseth 里边提到的话，所以这基本上证实了几点，也就是现在美国在第1天的时间之内，第1天对伊朗发生了进攻，他们已经是这个将在伊朗跟美国的这个进攻之下，第1天基本上这个伊朗的空军、伊朗的海军全部被摧毁掉了。当然除了霍梅尼被杀死之外的话，这个第二个他的儿子现在的话也是这个现在身体状况还不知道怎么样。以后第3阶梯的人上台了之后也被歼灭掉了。所以他现在的话，不过他在礼拜1早上的时候说我们正在和谈，他里边的话，他里边透露了这个现在5个人是参与在跟透过中间的国家，有可能是这个阿拉伯这个王子，还有这个以色列的总统，他们在美国做了很大的投资，所以的话这个王子的牵线这个还有这个中东这些盟友的牵线的情况之下，川普总统 Marco Rubio、JD Vance 他的女士 Kushner 还有Steve Witkoff 这5位人士的话，正在这个与能够美国认为是可以相信的人进行和谈。在和谈里边的话，它是第一个由美国政府开出了5个条件，当然没有讲到具体的5个条件。首先呢，最底线的这个部分的话，就是伊朗不能够拥有核子弹，这部分的话对方已经同意了，当然的话他并没有具体透露哪一些条件这个具体的条件。当然的话，所以从目前看起来的话那个川普已经说，本来如果不进行和谈的话，我们美国随时可以摧毁伊朗最大的发电厂，然后因为他们没有任何的这个空军跟我们美国的军队来对抗的那当然这个最新的报道有可能显示出来是这个礼拜4这个如果是谈判因为川普说我给5天的时间，然后因为礼拜4从加州开出去的这些这个海军陆战队也慢慢的会到这个伊朗的这个海峡里边来了。所以针对这个部分的话，这个记者会里边可以证实的话这个川普政府想办法尽快结束不过这个底线这部分的话，美国已经达到了，就是伊朗不能够拥有核子弹所以这个部分你可以看得出里边的话在里边也可以看得出这个将来的移民走向它有可能会采用 Tom Homeland 的就是优先处理这个犯罪的非美国公民人士。所以为什么讲到这个部分里边的话，所以可以看得出将来这个走向的话这是以优先处理这些人士来的。当然今天的话除了这个部分今天这个 Oklahoma 的因为这个 Mullen 已经出任这个国土安全部的部长，而 Oklahoma 州长今天任命了这名能源部的高管叫 Alan Armstrong 来代替 Mullen 的参议员。所以这个部分川普是已经支持另外一个国会这个国会众议员来竞选这个接替参议员Mullen 的位置。而这个部分这位 Alan Armstrong 的人士的话，他是这个只是这个临时到11月份选举的为止。所以的话这个部分的话川普是对共和党保住这个 Oklahoma 这个席位是非常有信心的因为在这个3次选举川普在 Oklahoma 的77个 county 里边的话都赢了77个 county 比里根总统的比例还高。当时里根竞选的时候只拿下56个 county， 而川普3次选举3次的拿下了 Oklahoma， 所以他对这个位置是非常有信心的。那当然在另外一个新闻里边的话，今天也在国会里边做了很大的一个爆炸新闻。Jack Smith 特别检察官他在这个2020这个他要调查这个川普这个机密文件案，还有这个J6 调查的时候，他们准备要起诉这个川普或者川普身边的顾问没想到的话这个今天在国会以后爆出了一个新闻，在2024年 FBI 没有经过律师的同意之下录下了 Susie Wiles 跟他律师的特权通话。因为 Susie Wiles 的话他是川普的竞选顾问，然后他问律师没想到这个 Jack Smith 的话这个没有没有真的法官的同意情况之下录下了 Susie Wiles 这是现在担任川普幕僚长的这些电话然后这个部分的话，并且在川普上台了之后，他们将这个录音的话这个当成一个这个禁止的这个绝密的文件，刻意要掩盖偷听的行为。因为为什么这样子做？因为的话律师的通话一般的话法官也不会授权 FBI 任何一个调查机构来监听。在法律上面的话有3个职业是法官一般不会轻易这个录音的。第一个就是律师跟客户之间的通话，第二个是律师这个医生跟病人之间的通话，第3个是牧师跟信徒之间的通话这3个电话一般的话检察官都不轻易允许的。所以针对这个部分里边的话这个 Ted Cruz 的话他说这个部分的话是严重的违规，也就是说特别检察官这个为了起诉川普或者川普的顾问以后不择手段，以后这个部分的话这有可能会成为新一版的水门事件了。那当然今天在国会参议院里边的话已经通过了另外一名的任命案，川普已经指派副总统 J.D. Vance 来担任的话反欺诈的沙王在里边你调查，但是的话你要起诉才能够定罪。所以司法部特别提名了这名这个叫做特别提名了一名这个叫做 McDonald 的人士来担任全美国的反欺诈检察长。所以单独成立一个反欺诈的助理反检察官克林 McDonald 以后这52比47票，所以这个部分的话就是为 J.D. Vance 万斯 Dr. Oz 这些对加州、明尼苏达州大规模的欺诈行为进行刑事的起诉。所以针对这个部分的话，可以看得出川普政府反欺诈的行动正式可以开始了。本来在今天晚上要召开加州唯一一场这个在初选前的州长辩论会，在南加州举办的。以后南加大本来今天晚上要跟这个 KABC 一起来主办，而没想到这4名民主党的人士然后申诉，他说目前南加大还有 KABC 他们只请了2名共和党人士 Steve Hilton 跟 Chad Pianka， 然后请了另外4名的话全都是白人的。我们8名民主党的候选人凭什么理由他们只请白人的候选人USC 跟 ABC 他的说法那边的话是我们根据民调显示出来，最后民主党候选人那么多，然后所以你其他的4位民主党候选人以后没有入围，所以的话没办法请那么多，所以的话这4名人士然后透过媒体的施压，然后这个不包括的话Bracella 拉丁裔的曾经担任卫生部的部长这个然后这个Tony 这个Simonda他是一个黑人的教育厅的厅长，还有以前洛杉矶的市长 Antonio Villaraigosa 他也做过议长，拉丁裔的，还有这个 Betty Ye 这个于素婷华人的，这4名都是这个民主党各有一个是女性，又是拉丁裔，又是Asian， 然后这些人的话都没有被邀请，所以他们发难。然后今天南加大的话，他这个干脆怎么做？取消掉。当然取消掉里边的话，他说这个他们抗争都赢了，以后没想到了 Steve Hilton 很恼火。他说我们南加大获取的这个10亿以上的联邦资金，以后他们现在这个是反言论自由的，然后民主党在所有的选举，不管是国会选举还是任何的一个选举，他们都不愿意参与这个公开的辩论。你这种言论，这个南加大 KABC 然后都是拿到联邦补助的，然后他现在要求联邦政府教育部调查南加大，凭什么理由莫名其妙的取消了这场选举这个辩论会。因为这个部分里边的话当然这个校长他是昨天晚上这个宣布取消掉，所以的话这个各方的利益可以看得出这个民主党的话勾心斗角这个也是显示出来民主党这个怎么样子来整合来打败共和党。最后现在呢，你可以看得出 Steve Hilton、Chad Bianco 在他民主党内部的调查已经可以这2个遥遥领先了以后在民主党的3位这个人士里边的话，他们包括这个Eric Swalwell、Katie Porter 以后这些人的话只拿到10%，所以可以看得出的话现在民主党已经是想办法来整合。所以不过的说因为6月2号就要进行选举了，然后这种情况之下，他们也担心共和党2位候选人的进入前2名，那大选的话，民主党因为8名人士来相互竞争，有可能会将民主党的选票全部瓜分掉，也会让共和党进入最后的这2名。当然之前我也提过这个2名共和党人士进入大选这个机会在1个多月以前只有12%，但是的话现在目前2名共和党人士以后进入大选的几率，从目前民调显示出来已经超过25%，也就是说有1/4的民众已经是会投票支持2名的共和党人士。以后如果是民主党继续分化， 8名人士的话互不相让，然后很有可能我们共和党就有机会这个夺回这个州长这个宝座。所以针对这个部分，我们现在的话就是呼吁华人的话全力出动，以后支持这2名共和党的候选人，以后放弃这些民主党的这些这个政客们，这样子的话我们就有机会将加州翻红了。好的，我们看看最新的这些这个目前的话这个左媒说这个因为这个检察官承认没有足够的证据来起诉这个美联储的这个主席Jerome Powell 的话他在为了这个帮助拜登故意降低利率，以后想办法来帮助，但是川普上台的时候该降利率他就是不降，川普总统的话就实在质疑，以后他们滥用了纳税人的钱来建造美联储的大楼，针对这个部分里边的话现在还没办法起诉。当然的话这个今天的话纽约时报里边的话报道里边的话就是说从目前看起来里边的话这个空难事故在 Ragadi 里边的话是可以是这个航空这个调度员的失误当时这个联合航空公司他要起飞的时候闻到窗内有这个火有些怪味道，所以的话就是转回来，然后要求消防队的人出来检查究竟这个窗内闻到的气味是什么问题。消防队队员的话接到了通知以后，这个要这个赶去这个联合航空公司的班机里边进行检查，所以他向这个控制台说我们现在要跨过4号航道4号跑道OK 吗？然后调度员说 OK， 然后那时候这个另外这个加拿大的飞机也在靠近要降落了，他问控制台这个哪一道这个可以降落，然后调度员说4号跑道，然后这时候这个理论上来说这个是有这个航班降落是有优先权的但是因为这个救防车已经是得到了 OK， 已经进入了这个跑道，然后后来在录音里边的话这个调度员承认 I mess up， 我弄砸了，然后这个事情的话当然这部分这是最新的一些这个事故的调查公布的结果。华尔街日报里边也谈到这个现在的话这个调度这个希望的话美国跟伊朗双方的这个谈判的话仲裁的话这个可能希望他在礼拜4这个见面。当然的话川普这个部分里边的话他说这个已经他们会密切在谈，然后他希望的话随时这个愿意谈判这个不希望战争继续，但是的话要看双方的条件怎么样了。好的，我们看看的话这个讲谁不同意拨款就停他的薪水，为什么让美国挨饿受冻，这个部分里面的话你可以看得出这个 TSA 这部分所以很多民众的话很恼火，就是因为这个民主党的议员以后不愿意给 TSA这个预算经费。当然的话他说如果让伊朗采纳了委内瑞拉的模式那更加好，不过的说我相信委内瑞拉的模式有可能会在古巴发生，不一定会在伊朗里面发生。你可以看得出现在基本上古巴已经因为委内瑞拉的石油这个被停止了，现在的话这个民众现在已经是出现的话就是要川普说我们已经在控制着古巴这个部分，我相信古巴这个模式比较快一点。伊朗它这个神权政府90%都是属于这个穆斯兰教，所以针对这个部分的话因为它的要扶植反对势力有一定的难，不过的说这个川普现在就怕没有任何人能够控制伊朗的政局， 以后这个部分第3个阶梯已经是被灭掉了，以后的话现在的话有可能是这个国会的议长能够，但是他们能不能稳住神权政府的这个政府的一些其他的派系的话还待观察。司法部部长邦迪一个民主党犯罪不起诉，邦迪干了哪些呢？当然的话，这个 Penn 邦迪今天在记者会上面的话主持这个宣誓仪式，他是所以川普让Penn 邦迪来，因为这个 Penn 邦迪的角色的话，你要知道他现在他们扮演2个角色，一个是要起诉，另外一方面的话要替川普政府进行辩护，还有要上诉打那么多的官司。在洛杉矶检察长的话是这个叫这个 Bill Elsali， 然后原来检察官办公室有300名的检察官在洛杉矶办公室，然后这个 Penn Bundy 上台的时候有这个有100多有近有50多名的他这个不认同川普的政策，他们就这个提前了在 Doge 在这个政府在马斯克的 Doge 这个部门里边，他就提早就退休了。以后后来 Penn Bundy 发了一个搜证文件，他说所有的检察官在以后发出的信里边的话，不能够使用一个这个所谓的性别的名词，好像我 Daniel Dunn 以后不需要加上 he以后 his 这样子，因为在过去民主党以来就是一个男的名字，然后他后面的话要区别的话，我是同性恋的，本来这个男的名字他要加一个专有名词，是属于 her、she 来称呼的，所以川普政府从军队开始，以后到了司法部同样的，以后用你自己的名字，不要用这种这个性别取向的这种代号来。这个行政命令这个备忘录一发出去之后，洛杉矶就有上百名的检察官辞职了，300多名的检察官一下子里边的话有一半就辞职不干，还有一些还是因为他们受工会保护，你要开除他，他偏偏帮你吹口哨，他就不辞职，在里边的话拖延，故意不起诉，不听从指挥。所以的话你要明白的话，这个深层政府里边的话有很大的一个深层政府是在检察官办公室来的。你刚才讲的话这个不起诉，那个不起诉，就是因为你要有检察官才行啊。你会在检察官这个体制里边的话要改革非常难，所以你也不得不以后我这个多次在节目里边的话也是传播一个消息，因为什么？洛杉矶的检察长比尔·塞里说，欢迎保守派的检察官以后来申请检察官的办公室的工作。在过去10年，所有法学院毕业的学生全都被洗脑了。所以为什么这个现在要找到一些保守派能够愿意推动川普的打击犯罪的政策的人的话非常少，所以你要明白，所以 Bundy 的处境，然后你要开除一个检察官，工会就挡住，他又吹口哨，他说这个部分，所以的话要明白这种的话，你就知道要改革川普政府连内阁官员的话面临的阻力，要对付深层政府，要彻底改革的话，需要魄力，还有需要智慧才能够这个才能够做到。 这个 Jen 说的话，这个发生了民主党坏事的做尽了，以后必须将他们拉下台，让加州翻红，以后我们加州受够了民主党的这个执政。就像川普所讲的，如果你看的这些左媒里边的话，我们美国的输定了，或者是平手了，其实的话，你到现场里边去了，他说我们全部掌控了伊朗的这个制空权，以后的话，我们美国的飞机要打哪里，以后的话，伊朗政府全部没有任何的反制能力，所以他说这个是不是赢？第一天我们就赢了，但是的话，你看《纽约时报》、看 CNN 的话，我们好像输定了。所以的话，你可以看得出，在加州同样也是90%以上的这些媒体都是属于左媒，都是这个抄这个外电，而这些外电里边的话，都是不希望加州这个让川普政府来推动川普的政策，所以这些的话，谢谢大家的这个让给我们这个机会一起来关心，从一个公正保守的立场来看待里面说现在我们加州面临的挑战。这个消防车不应该每个跑道左侧都配备一样，这样子的不会这个横过飞机跑道了当然这些东西都是好的以后的话但是的话要改里边的话，就像那个这个 Sean Duffy 这个交通部部长讲的其实我们正在这个很重要一点的话，就要更新高科技的部分，让高科技来控制，以后调度员里边的话有失误，但是的话往往 AI 以后这个先进的工具的话，可以避免这样子的悲剧发生的。好的，谢谢大家收看今天的灯红说法节目，我们下期再会。